Some pretty shocking developing news as we're hearing that the FBI has now captured 8 individuals that were suspected of plotting a terrorist attack in the United States. Let's go ahead and take a look at the latest headlines so that way you can see it for yourself. 3 Halloween terror suspects from Dearborn agree to remain jailed. They don't seek bond. Now, the sub-key points here say 8 individuals from 3 states now have been arrested in an alleged ISIL-inspired terrorist plot. Potential targets included an LGBTQ+ friendly area in Ferndale, Michigan, or the Cedar Point amusement park. Defense attorneys argued that the defendants were engaged in tough talk and that there was no actual plan to attack anyone, but we're hearing the FBI thinks otherwise. And I'm going to share with you the latest so that way you can see it for yourself and you can let me know your thoughts. But take a look. 6 arrested so far over Detroit IS-style terror plot. One wanted to execute 500 Jews. Now, this comes as we had heard earlier this year the warnings of sleeper cells. There were Iranian sleeper cells hiding in plain sight, waiting to target rural U.S. areas, terrorism experts warned, and also Iranian sleeper cells. What to know about the U.S. warnings. And we're hearing that right now, the FBI is going in and finding these individuals that are plotting terrorist attacks against the United States. And let me know your thoughts. We had heard from Trump that the Biden administration just let them walk in over the course of the last 4 years. And now we're hearing that the Trump administration is ushering them out. If you are glad to see what Donald Trump is currently doing, the FBI tracking down these sleeper cell individuals that want to commit terror attacks on U.S. soil, drop a 47 in the comments for support for Donald Trump. Now, I'm going to share with you the latest video footage that has just come out in the past 13 hours, as they are saying there are now 8 individuals. And wait till you hear what's going on here. They're saying one is swiftly moved to a plea agreement, which they're saying is indicating that there is an individual that they have captured that is likely about to just let them know about various other plots that are underway. One of them is about to sing like a canary and tell the FBI, they said they suspect, about what is going on with these various groups plotting attacks. So it looks like they are about to discover a lot of information here from what we're hearing. I'm going to share with you the video footage so you can see it for yourself, but it looks like they have captured 8 now, which could lead to a whole lot more. So like I said, 46, they said, left the borders open and just let them pour in. 47 has closed the borders and is shipping them out. And I'm seeing those 47s point into the comment for support for the Trump administration and what they're doing right now to take care of America. Now, I'm going to get you caught up on the latest. As you know, here on the channel, I cite the sources, put it on the screen, read right from it so you can see it for yourself and know and rest assured that this is the latest. If you appreciate that, do me a favor, take a quick second, hit that thumbs up like button. Really helps the live stream while we're live today, November the 11th, 2025. In addition to that, to stay up to date, it's totally free. Why not? Hit the subscribe button if this is your first time here. Like I said, I cite the sources. I'm going to play for you the video footage. I've got everything hyperlinked in the description, trying to hold myself to the highest level of accountability so you can know and rest assured this is the latest information coming out. So again, hit that like button if you appreciate it, but let's go ahead and take a look here because we have heard the warnings about potential attacks. The FBI has been warning about this for quite some time, and now we're hearing that there are more plots that are currently underway that are being discovered as of today, and they are trying to make sure that they can put all of these to a stop. So let's go ahead and take a look at the video footage so you can see it for yourself.
Carly, 3 Dearborn men arrested in connection to the ISIS-inspired Halloween terror plot known as Pumpkin, appearing before a federal judge, have agreed to remain behind bars. Those 3 suspects are next due in court next week. Joining me now, former Assistant FBI Director Chris Swecker. Chris, defense attorneys are arguing that these 3 Dearborn men were just engaged in tough talk, nothing more. Will that defense fly?
Yeah, well, all you have to do is read the 90-page affidavit or several of the affidavits that support arrest warrants for some of these individuals, and you can see this isn't the run-of-the-mill group that just pops off in some chat room. These are what, we've been afraid of lone wolves now. This is a lone wolf pack. And this is something that I think has been incubated, sometimes at home, and it's due to non-assimilation for people who are first or second generation here in the United States, enjoying the benefits of being in the United States. And they have been rapidly and virally radicalized over the internet in an alarming way. And I think the FBI's got their work cut out for them. Their success is preventing something bad before it happens, not after.
This plot spanned not only the United States, but also the globe, but specifically in the U.S. We just mentioned Dearborn, Michigan. There were also those what are being termed the Jersey Jihad yuppies. And listen to this. One of them, according to court documents, is angling for a plea deal that the United States wants in on. Both the U.S. and the defendant desire additional time to negotiate a plea agreement, which would render grand jury proceedings and a trial in this matter unnecessary. Chris, why would the Trump DOJ be so anxious to give this guy a plea deal? The only thing I can think is to get him to flip on others. Maybe this thing expands well beyond what we know now, and maybe the DOJ wants some more information. What say you, Chris?
I think that's true. I think that these arrests that we've seen over the last week or two have been, I don't think the FBI was ready to make these arrests. Their hand was forced by the Halloween plot that was revealed, and then a couple of them started traveling. They were going to the airports. The FBI was not sure whether they were ever going to come back. So I think their hand was forced. They've been at this for quite a long time, the Bureau has, and their partners. And this has been a sprawling anti-terrorism, counterterrorism investigation. And I think there's a lot there. They've been watching them for a long time, surveilling them for a long time, conducting wiretaps, camping out in these chat rooms, these encrypted chat rooms. And I don't think they were comfortable with knowing the entire scope of this operation. So it would make sense to cut one deal with someone who had good, strong knowledge of the entire scope of the operation, because we're looking at 8 people right now, but apparently there's a lot more than that in this network here. So we've got a little beehive of activity. We want to make sure we get the whole scope of it.
Yeah, you don't hear a lot of times in the first inning of the game the DOJ prosecutors saying, let's cut a plea deal. That is rare. So something unique is going on here. We will be watching. Chris Swecker, thank you, sir.
There you have it, you guys. So they said that they think that there is a plea deal being cut because there are a lot more people, individuals that are involved that are about to be exposed. And like I said, we've heard the warnings about there being tons of these throughout the United States. In various cities, we're hearing that there are a lot of these groups that want to do harm to the United States, and now they are trying to capture them and put a stop to it. Let's take a look at some more video footage that have come out in the past couple of days, roughly the past week or so, with more updates as they're catching more and more individuals. We're hearing there's a total of 8 now. Let's take a look.
But first, breaking tonight, we're learning new details of the ISIS-inspired terror attack allegedly planned for Halloween in suburban Detroit. That reported plot was foiled by the FBI. It's a story we first brought you Friday. 2 men are in custody tonight. The details of the scheme are actually chilling. Correspondent David Spont starts us off tonight with that story. Good evening, David.
Brett, good evening. We are learning this investigation into what could have been a Halloween massacre began months ago. It involves surveillance from poll cameras and encrypted chats. 2 men appeared this afternoon in a federal courtroom in Michigan and are facing charges in what authorities say is an ISIS-inspired terror attack that, if the suspects were successful, would have likely taken place on Halloween in a Detroit suburb. Investigators say the men used the term pumpkins as a code word for a possible attack on LGBTQ bars or clubs. Mohamed Ali and Mashid Mahmoud, along with the juvenile referred to as person number 1, are accused of plotting this mass shooting. According to court documents, Ali was practicing shooting at a local gun range. There were messages between the alleged suspects about planning the attack, but of course it never happened. On Friday, authorities conducted searches in both Dearborn and nearby Inkster, Michigan. Officials moved in and recovered 3 AR-15 style rifles, 2 shotguns, 4 handguns, and more than 1,600 rounds of ammunition, GoPro cameras, tactical vests, and other gear. FBI Director Kash Patel posting on social media today in part, the FBI acted fast, followed the evidence, and likely saved countless lives. A lawyer for one of the men said this was a case of, quote, hysteria. that all-male group of suspects aged 16 to 20 were role-playing computer gamers and that no terror event was planned. The DOJ thinks differently. Both men could face up to 15 years behind bars and remain behind bars with a detention hearing set for next week. The unnamed juvenile Brett has not been charged at this time.
These new images show two Michigan men inside a gun store purchasing weapons for what the FBI says was a foiled plot to carry out an ISIS-inspired Halloween terrorist attack. Just 3 days ago, the FBI raided homes in Dearborn. Tonight, Muhammad Ali and Majid Mahmoud were in federal court. Agents say during the raid, they recovered 3 AR-15 style rifles, 2 shotguns, 4 handguns, and more than 1,600 rounds of ammunition, along with this tactical gear and 24 magazines from a storage unit. According to the criminal complaint, in July, the FBI picked up on third-party conversations about Ali and an unnamed minor named Person 1, plotting to do the same thing as France, a reference, they say, to the 2015 ISIS terror attacks in Paris that killed 130 people. Between August and October, the FBI monitored the suspects, saying they purchased multiple weapons, frequently visited gun ranges seen here, and debated launching an attack on Halloween, what they called Pumpkin Day. The FBI quoting Ali in one conversation, telling Person 1, just learn how to shoot, it's not as easy as you think. And alleged the group went to Ferndale, Michigan to scout locations of a possible attack, where many of the clubs and bars attract members of the LGBTQ+ community. The FBI then moving in to make the arrests. Attorneys for the defendants declined to comment, but over the weekend, Ali's attorney denied the allegations, saying this group had a lawful interest in recreational firearms. Tom?
We are following major developments in that thwarted Halloween terror plot out of Michigan. Less than 3 days after the FBI announced that it stopped a planned attack, 2 Detroit area men now facing charges.
According to the criminal complaint released today, the men discussed plans with another individual to carry out an attack here in the U.S. on behalf of ISIS. They're now facing a long list of federal weapons charges. NBC News national law enforcement and intelligence correspondent Tom Winter joins us now. So, Tom, a lot of new details since you broke this story on Friday on our air. What are we learning about these men?
Right. And a lot of the details that we're getting today point to the seriousness, according to authorities, of this plot and closely mirrors some of the things that we first started discussing here on News Daily last week. Muhammad Ali and Majid Mahmoud are the 2 individuals been charged. There's also a juvenile that's involved in this, as we alluded to, additional co-conspirators as well. Taking a step back here, we'll get into the details of the plot. This is very similar to the type of ISIS-style plotting that we saw a decade ago, and that's how it was kind of hinted to me on Friday. This is a little bit back to the future here, and that we're talking about a group coming together, making coordinated purchases of weapons, having discussions among themselves, consuming a lot of jihadist material, but then also going out and trying to reach out to an individual located in Syria at an ISIS camp there. And that kind of command and control and wanting to talk to ISIS, wanting ISIS's blessing for this attack is something that's more reminiscent and frankly a little bit more troubling based on what we used to see in the past, and is totally consistent with our reporting about kind of a little bit of resurgence here of ISIS. Specifically the plot, we're talking about a number of meetings that occurred in person. We're talking about meetings that occurred over Telegram, scouting of bars and restaurants in Detroit, including LGBTQ, as the FBI puts it, bars and locations, not places that these individuals were going to themselves, but they were traveling there. As well know, there was the Pulse nightclub attack several years back, and that was one of the deadliest mass shootings at the time in U.S. history, also an ISIS-inspired attack. So the details of this, including the 1,680 rounds that they allegedly purchased, multiple AR-15 rifles, a shotgun with a scope, and then there was the reference, as we first reported on Friday, this reference to Pumpkin, and that apparently happens on October 22nd. You're looking at some of the images, by the way, from the complaint, these firing and looking at these weapons, but they reference Pumpkin. And we see this so often in terrorism cases. Sometimes certain elements of a group are just ready to do the attack now. They want to get out there and they want to do it. And so they talk about the fact of, look, I don't want to wait till our attack date. The pumpkin is where it's at. So that was why the FBI moved. We talked about that on Friday. Now a lot more clarity today.
Want to do it
Halloween.
soon.
Potentially.
Halloween. Yeah. So that was a reference clearly to October 31st. type attack. And that's why the FBI, since they had an undercover in with this unit, we can now say that because it's included in the complaint. Wow. They had somebody who was within the communications of the group. They felt like, you know what, this is a risk too great, even though they had had surveillance on at least one of these individuals dating back to July.
Oh my goodness. Chilling. I mean, it's the coordination of it. And as you said, the seeking of the blessing that is just so haunting. Tom Winter, thank you for being on.
There you have it, you guys. Man, let me know your thoughts. Now, that was some footage that has come out in the past week, but now we're hearing that in just the past 24 hours, there have now been 8 individuals that have been captured. Let's take a look at this so that way you can get the latest information. You can see this coming out yesterday, November the 10th, 2025. 3 Halloween terror suspects from Dearborn agreed to remain jailed. Don't seek bond. Now, the bullet points here, the key points say 8 individuals from 3 states now have been arrested in an alleged ISIS-inspired terrorism plot. We heard that one of them has jumped right to a plea deal, and that is because they suspect there's going to be a whole lot more individuals that are about to be uncovered around the United States. Potential targets included the LGBTQ plus friendly areas in Ferndale, Michigan, or the Cedar Point amusement park. Defense attorneys argued the defendants were engaged in tough talk and that there was no actual plan to attack anyone. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, this article says 3 Dearborn men arrested in an alleged terrorism plot to attack a location in Ferndale or an amusement park over Halloween weekend have agreed to remain jailed pending the outcome of their federal case, which has now ensnared 8 defendants from 3 separate states. 3 defendants, Muhammad Ali, 20, Majed Mahmoud, 20, and Ayub Nasser, 19, had a detention hearing in U.S. District Court in Detroit on November 10th, during which they could have argued for bond, but chose not to. The government has accused the men of being armed and radicalized terrorists with a plan to attack an LGBTQ+ friendly establishment in Ferndale or an amusement park, but the FBI got to them first. The defense, though, maintained that there was no plan to attack anyone and that the defendants are just kids who were engaged in tough talk over the internet. Nothing else. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Here's some images of them you can see in these photos. Since the FBI's Halloween raids in Michigan, 8 individuals from 3 states have been arrested and charged with being part of an alleged plot to carry out terrorist attacks in the United States on behalf of ISIS. 2 potential locations for the attacks included Ferndale and the Cedar Point amusement park in Sandusky, Ohio, court records state. Now, the defendants are Muhammad Ali, 20, of Dearborn, who was arrested in a pre-dawn Halloween raid. He is charged with conspiring to provide material support to ISIS and having firearms that would be used to commit an act of terrorism on behalf of ISIS. Majed Mahmoud, 20, of Dearborn, who also was arrested on Halloween and charged with conspiring to provide materials to support ISIS and having firearms that would be used to commit an act of terrorism on behalf of ISIS. Ayub Nasser, 19, of Dearborn, who was arrested November 5th, is charged with conspiring to provide materials to support ISIS and having firearms that would be used to commit an act of terrorism on behalf of ISIS. 2 juveniles from Metro Detroit who are being charged in a confidential process and are accused of being a part of the alleged plot to attack a location in Ferndale or an amusement park. So that is more individuals now. We're hearing it is up to 8 now, and there's likely going to be more on the way. Tomas Can Jimenez Jazul, 19, of Montclair, New Jersey, who is charged with conspiracy to provide material support to a foreign terrorist organization. He allegedly said that he wanted to be known as one of the 100 most evil people in the world and volunteered his cohorts that he would carry out beheadings for promotional videos if asked. According to the FBI, he has planned to travel to Turkey and then Syria later this month to join and train with ISIS, but accelerated his travel plans after learning of the Dearborn arrests. He was arrested on November 4th at Newark Airport before he could board his flight to Turkey. So they literally got him at the airport before he was about to flee the country. Saeed Ali Mireh, 19, of Kent, Washington, is the alleged cohort of Jimenez Jazul and also is charged with conspiracy to provide material support to a foreign terrorist organization. He also had plans to travel to Turkey to join ISIS, the FBI has said, but was arrested at his home on November 5th before he could take off. Milo Sedarat, 19, of Montclair, New Jersey, who is accused of sending violent anti-Semitic threats over social media, allegedly telling an accomplice that he wanted to unalive his mother's Jewish friends and that he hoped a second Holocaust occurred. Bro, everyone hates the Jews now, he allegedly wrote in one message. Bro, my mom's Jewish friends are brainwashing her, states another message. I want to unalive her friends. The FBI also alleges in a criminal complaint that Sedarat sent photos of himself to an accomplice showing him holding knives and swords, and that he threatened to use those weapons against various Jewish individuals. He is charged with 2 counts of transmitting threats through interstate and foreign commerce. Now, according to the court documents, the FBI has been investigating the Washington and New Jersey defendants since 2023, monitoring their conversations with the help of undercover FBI informants and agents. Another investigation would reveal that those men were talking to the Michigan defendants, court records state, though it remains unclear what the Michigan group was discussing in those encrypted chats. Now, in a video posted on social media platform X, New Jersey's U.S. Attorney Alina Habab stated that Jimenez Jazul and Mira were connected to the Halloween terror plot in Detroit. She did not say how they were connected, only that they had pledged support to ISIS, made anti-Semitic comments on the internet, and were plotting to carry out terror attacks in the United States. Now, the FBI alleges in court documents that in the last several months, the group of 5 Michigan defendants talked about the encouraged terrorist attacks in encrypted conversations and on social media, had access to high-powered rifles, and held training exercises as a part of a bigger plot to carry out a terrorist attack in Ferndale or the amusement park over Halloween weekend. According to court documents, at least 3 of the Michigan defendants had cased the amusement park and scouted various bars along Woodward Avenue in Ferndale as possible locations for an attack, and used the code word pumpkin when discussing the alleged Halloween plot. The area in Ferndale to which they traveled in September includes numerous bars and restaurants, including 3 bars, clubs identified by the FBI based on this data. All 3 of these clubs are located on Woodward Avenue near East 9 Mile. Many of the clubs and bars in this area intentionally attract members of the LGBTQ+ community, states a 73-page complaint filed in the U.S. District Court. Now, to date, none of the criminal complaints filed in this case mention any anti-gay text messages, social media posts, or comments made by the defendants, whose communications were being secretly monitored and taped by undercover informants and agents. Now, court documents filed in the cases of the New Jersey and Washington men also do not state anything about Ferndale or the amusement park. Rather, they state that those 3 defendants had plans to travel to Turkey and then Syria to join and train with ISIS, and that they accelerated those travel plans after learning of the FBI raids in Michigan and the arrests of the Dearborn men. A defense lawyer for one of the Dearborn men had previously described the defendants as being video gamers and recreational gun enthusiasts who were engaged in tough talk and nothing else. As defense attorney Amir Makhled had maintained from the get-go, there is nothing here. There was never any plot. However, the FBI disagrees. Man, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you are glad to see the FBI making these arrests and getting these individuals, drop a 47 in the comments. If you think no, there was no terror plot here, they were just video gamers and were gun enthusiasts, drop a 46 in the comments, as we have heard that the Biden administration had open border policies that allowed tons of people to flow in, and the Trump administration is getting them out. If you appreciate the Trump administration, drop a 47. If you liked how things were before, drop a 46. But what we're hearing is that right now, they're saying they're getting these individuals out of here. And this comes as even during the Biden administration, we had heard the warnings of various individuals that had entered into our borders here in the United States and were planning attacks on U.S. soil in U.S. cities in various forms and fashion. We've heard that there could be potential cyber attacks on critical infrastructure systems, physical attacks in various cities. We've even heard that there potentially could be dirty bombs, suitcase nukes walked over into the U.S. Lots of different threats being posed. And right now we're hearing that the Trump administration and the FBI, they are on it. And we're hearing that potentially one of these individuals has run to a plea deal, and they're saying that they believe that right now there's a lot more that is about to be exposed. And we're hearing that today, November the 11th, 2025, there is now 8 individuals from that Halloween plot, the pumpkin attack they were calling it, that have now been arrested. And so they're saying there likely is going to be more on the way. So we will see. I will keep you up to date here on the channel, but that is the latest that's coming out as we're hearing that more individuals are being discovered that have been plotting attacks in the United States. So we will see. I will keep you up to date here on the channel. Now, in addition to that, if you're a praying individual, please pray for our nation, for our cities, pray for the FBI, that if there are those that are here that want to cause harm to our nation, that they're able to capture them and keep the innocent and those that are just trying to live their lives safe. And if you're a praying individual, drop praying hands in the comments. And also, if you'd like to hear the Bible, as you guys know, many of you know, I'm going to be releasing an audio Bible here on YouTube. Just reading the Bible in my voice. You'll be able to hear it on YouTube. So the voice that brings you the news also can bring you the Bible if you're interested. I'll pin that in the comments after this live stream for you. But you guys, that is the latest. As more comes out, I'll keep you up to date. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care. God bless. I'll catch you in the next one. This is Steve.